Hello fiber friends! Welcome to the Jillian Eve channel. I'm Evie and I spin yarn, and that's what we're doing today because it appears that my Dorset wool has a fan club. I've had several people message me and say, do the Dorset! So that's what we are doing today. If you need to catch up, I have a couple other videos that are showing you the progress of this project. You can find the link for those in the description down below so that you can get all caught up and hear the story of how I got this wool, scoured it, skirted it first, and then combed it. So let's do that in a different order. Got the wool, skirted the wool, scoured the wool, combed the wool, and now we're going to spin the wool. Did you catch all that? I hope you're with me. All right. My plan for this Dorset fleece was to get a pair of socks out of it. It was in pretty rough shape, and I thought if I could just clean it up enough to get socks, that would be great. And here's where we are with that. I have this basket full of combed little, we call these little nests because they're like a little nest of fiber. I have this basket full of little nests and I'm ready to start spinning for sock yarn. If you're enjoying seeing this project and want to see more projects like this, remember to subscribe and help out the channel by hitting that like button. If you notice when looking at this wool, you can see that there is some yellowing. The color of it is not entirely consistent, and I wanted to explain what's going on with that. This is something that happens to wool if it sits before it's been scoured for a while. It can get a bacteria in it, and that bacteria causes it to turn yellow. It can make it a little more difficult to dye, but once you scour the wool and get that all washed out, you're good to go. The yellow is a stain, the bacteria is gone, so no worries there. But once that yellow is in there, there's nothing you can do except dye over the color. And that is what I do plan to do after this is spun up. I will be dyeing this yarn. So keep watching to the end of the video because I'll show you how I do all of that after we finish spinning. I prefer my sock yarn to have 3 plies and a slightly higher twist for durability. So I am going to spin all of this onto a single bobbin, maybe 2 bobbins if I don't have enough room, but I will be chain plying this to get the 3 plies in the final yarn. My plan is to spin this very thin, about as thin as I can get it. And I'm looking for probably a 60 or 70 wraps per inch on the singles as I'm spinning. Dorset wool is very crisp and it's very springy. It's very floofy, you could say. And it will poof up after it's washed. All of that current will stay in there and make it a very springy, squishy yarn. But that means that when I have a single spun on the bobbin and it's under tension and it's all stretched out, it's going to finish up thicker than it appears as it's being spun. And so I have to keep that in mind because I don't want to spin this thinking I'm going to get a nice sport weight and then ply it, wash it, and finish it and end up with some kind of chunky yarn. I'm going to spin this very fine to get a sport weight yarn that is what I would want to knit socks from. I'm going to use my Ashford Elizabeth today. I have her all set up in her double drive setup. So let's get spinning and I'll give you some close-up views to show you how it looks while I'm drafting this yarn. It took me a couple days, but I got the Dorset all spun up into one bobbin, and now I am chain plying so that I can get a lovely 3-ply sock yarn, and so far it's coming out just like I wanted, just like I sampled. I'm very, very excited about it. While I'm chain plying this, I wanted to just let you kind of see how I'm chain plying. I've done some examples of chain ply before, but I know that it can be a tricky technique to kind of visualize, and so I think having different angles, different views, different rates of watching it, whether it's slow or at a regular kind of speed, I think that can be helpful. And then I also, so I want to let you watch for a minute, but I also wanted to share with you a couple interesting things about Dorset sheep, about the breed, because they really are actually very interesting as far as sheep go. So let me explain what I'm doing here with this chain ply. So if you visualize a crochet chain, that's what's going on. I have a loop, and this loop is the start of my chain. So I pull the, I have my Lazy Kate down here with the bobbin that I spun. It's this one, this is just leftovers. So I have my Lazy Kate down here with my bobbin, and so I just have the single strand coming off the bobbin, but there's a loop that I'm working from on this ply as I go, and from the loop I am going to pull up some of this ply or the single that's down on the bobbin, and that creates another loop. I'm using the back of my hand that's closest to the orifice, my pinky here, and with my pinky I'm hooking around this as I ply, and that is controlling the twist, because if the twist gets ahead of where I'm working, it can make a mess. So then I just create another loop with my other hand, and then I kind of spread the loop open, reach down and hook as if my finger is a crochet hook, and I hook that single to bring it up through the loop. So that is how I am doing this chain ply. So let me share with you a couple interesting things about Dorset sheep. These are a few things I found interesting. For one, the breed is very old. We're not even exactly sure how old the breed is, but probably several hundred years old. So if you're into reenactment and you want a English available breed, Dorset would be it. And the Dorset sheep, they're not exactly sure if they were derived from Spanish Merino or if they were only just a breed that developed from the breeds of sheep in South England and also Wales that kind of developed the Dorset breed. But they have a few characteristics that make them, like I said, very interesting. They originally were a horned breed. They had horns, but a genetic variation appeared in the 1900s, so it was the 20th century. So in America, a university developed a hornless, and in sheep terms, we call that polled. It means they don't have horns. A polled variety of Dorset, and that variety has become more popular than the horned variety. And so now the horned variety of Dorset is on the heritage breed conservation list in the United States, and also I think possibly some other places. So horned Dorset is a breed that we want to maintain and keep for the importance of genetic diversity. The wool from Dorset is interesting because it resists felting. So I think it's great for socks because it's not gonna get very felted and matted. It's gonna keep its kind of stitch structure. And it's good if you're scared of scouring. It's a good one to practice to start with because you're not gonna accidentally felt it. It's very, very difficult to felt Dorset. Some other interesting things about Dorset are that they are able to breed and produce lambs year-round. Most sheep are seasonal, and so you would get lambs in the spring, but Dorset can breed year-round, so you can get lambs whenever. And that is why, this is sort of a personal observation, I see a lot of Dorset sheep for 4-H projects, and I think it might be because of their availability year-round. So if you're practicing showing and you need a lamb of a certain age, you might be able to acquire that as a Dorset and not have to wait for specific seasons and things like that. So if you or your family are involved in 4-H, let me know, because I've just sort of observed that with people I know who participate in 4-H and learn about livestock and stuff like that. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Fleece, like I said before, I think I mentioned a few times as I was processing this, it did get some canarying on it, and so it does have some yellow spots. I'm going to dye this skein of yarn and hide those yellow spots. So I've been kind of thinking what colors I want to do and what method I want to use for dyeing it, and I think that I'm just going to use a lot of color. It's just gonna be all kinds of color. It's January right now, and it's a little dreary. I feel like I need some color to just perk me up, I think. So I'm going to be dyeing this as soon as I am done with the plying. So let me finish up this ply and I'll get right back with you, and let's have some fun with color. Here we are, all skeined up. It came to about 18 wraps per inch, which is basically a perfect sport weight, and I got about 300 yards, and that's a little shy of what amount I would want to knit a sock, you know, a set of socks, but I think for ankle socks it'll be perfect. So the colors I'm going to play with, I think, are some chartreuse, some turquoise, and purple, because I love purple. And these colors are the colors that today are just making me happy. So I will put it into the bath and see what happens. Friends, this yarn came out just gorgeous. Oh my goodness, look at how beautiful this is. I am thrilled. I'm just so thrilled. It has this navy blue color, of course this bright chartreuse, the purple, it has this sort of like a dark forest, kind of a hunter green color, some more purple. It's my colors, and this just absolutely brightened up my dreary January day. So maybe this will bring a little bright color and inspiration for you as well. Make sure that you're following my Instagram, because I will have some more pictures and up close pictures of the yarn over on my Instagram, Jillian Eve FA. You can follow me there. I also have a Patreon. You can check that out for more tutorials and fun goodies. And yeah, I guess I better get knitting because I really want to see this in a project. I'll give you some updates later on, so watch for that. Make sure you're subscribed. And hit that thumbs up if you love spinning. All right, friends, I'll see you in the next one. Happy spinning.